You might believe that power is all about visible things, strength, wealth, or influence. But those are just the fleeting trappings, fragile and easily lost. Real power is an invisible force, born from an unyielding will that allows a leader to face ruin without blinking and lets an ordinary person walk through a trial by fire with their gaze fixed and steady. Most people spend their lives chasing comfort, but the truly powerful forge themselves in the fires of adversity. They don't expect life to be kind. They prepare for its inevitable cruelty. Every day, the world tests you, watching for the exact moment you'll break under the weight of financial stress, unexpected betrayal, or the silent fears that keep you awake at night. The average person will run from these challenges, seeking only distraction and relief. But the extraordinary, the few, deliberately embrace them, using each hardship to sharpen their resolve. They don't simply wait for the storm to pass. They walk directly into it and emerge, not unscathed, but infinitely stronger. Machiavelli understood this profoundly. Fortune doesn't favor the lucky. It favors the disciplined, the ruthless, the ones unafraid to sacrifice everything for what they seek. This isn't a video about fleeting motivation or winning admiration. It's a deep dive into forging a will so unbreakable that no pain, no fear, no failure can ever truly shatter it. If you're here for comfort, this isn't for you. But if you're ready to become truly formidable, to wield a power that few will ever know, then stay with me. The first step on this path is shedding the naive illusion that life owes you anything at all. The world isn't fair. It doesn't care about your good intentions, your natural talent, or your hidden potential. It doesn't reward you with a pat on the back for being a good person. The world is a blade, and it's constantly sharpening itself against you. Look around. The vast majority of people cling to routine like a lifeline, desperately seeking comfort, fleeting pleasure, or simply an escape. They dodge discomfort at all costs, numbing their minds and their spirits with 1,000 distractions. This is precisely why they crumble. A single setback, a deep betrayal, or a moment of real pressure, and they are completely undone because they never trained themselves to deliberately endure suffering. True power begins the moment you stop running from pain and start using it as a deliberate tool to forge your strength. Machiavelli saw the illusion of comfort with a ruthless clarity. He warned rulers never to grow complacent within the gilded cages of their own palaces. Comfort, he argued, is a slow poison. It erodes the core of strength, turning even the most formidable leader into a brittle and fragile shadow of their former self. A leader who shields themselves from hardship is inviting their own downfall, because in the ruthless game of power, weakness is what loses crowns and costs lives. This same brutal truth applies to you. To become unbreakable, you must choose your pain before life forces it upon you. This means stripping away the luxuries that dull your edge, consciously waking earlier than you'd like, pushing past the point of exhaustion, and rejecting the small, soft comforts that secretly sap your will. You must cut ties with those who drain your energy, who encourage weakness. When you master your own suffering, it can no longer be weaponized against you. Picture a sword being forged. The steel is hammered, heated, and plunged into icy water, over and over, until it is transformed into a lethal instrument. If you were that steel, how many blows could you withstand before you cracked? Every hardship you willingly face is a hammer strike, a pass through the flame, a step toward becoming indestructible. Don't wait for the world to test you on its terms. Seek out challenges deliberately. Embrace discomfort as the forge for your strength. When the world tries to crush you, it will find you tempered like steel, unyielding and unbreakable. Most people are captives within their own minds, driven by impulses they barely even notice. They speak without thinking, react without calculating, and expose their vulnerabilities without any deliberate intent. Their minds are open fields, fertile ground for anyone to plant seeds of fear, doubt, or desire. To achieve extraordinary power, you must fortify these gates. You have to train your mind to answer only to you, not to fear, not to pleasure, not to the pressures of the crowd. Machiavelli admired leaders who stood unshaken amidst chaos. Their thoughts as disciplined as soldiers under command. Nothing was allowed to infiltrate their judgment unless it served a clear purpose. Anger was a tool, chained and held in reserve until it was time to unleash it. Compassion was held back until it advanced their cause. Even joy was rationed, for too much pleasure breeds carelessness. A mind so controlled becomes a fortress, impervious to the world's attempts to sway it. The first step toward true power is awareness. A brutal honesty with yourself. Most people drift through life on autopilot, blindly reacting to impulses and unaware of the strings pulling them. A rumor spreads and they swallow it whole. A threat appears and they retreat. A temptation glitters, and they lunge at it without a second thought. But you, if you seek true power, will learn to pause. The moment you refuse to react instantly is the moment you seize control. Envision your mind as a fortress, with towering, unbreachable stone walls. Every single thought must be scrutinized at the gate. Is this fear a rational response, or just a noise in the system? Does this desire serve my purpose, or will it chain me to something trivial? Will this anger sharpen my resolve, or expose a weakness? If a thought fails the test, you must banish it. With practice, this vigilance becomes second nature, a reflex as natural as breathing. Master this mental discipline, and others will feel an unsettling difference in your presence. You'll move with a quiet certainty, unshaken by insults, unrushed by pressure. Even in victory, you won't celebrate too loudly, knowing that no triumph is ever truly final. This stillness is a weapon. It unnerves those around you, forcing them to wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning. And fear, as Machiavelli knew, grows most potent in the shadows of the unknown. Your calm isn't a performance, it's an armored state, freeing you from the chains of impulse. When your decisions are no longer slaves to fleeting emotions, you become untouchable. Your enemies will search for a chink in your armor and find nothing to grasp. You must build this mental fortress brick by brick. In moments of tension, deliberately slow down instead of rushing. In moments of joy, remind yourself it is fleeting, not a permanent throne to rest on. In moments of fear, see it as useful data to be processed, not a master to be obeyed. The person who commands their own mind commands their own fate. They don't live at the mercy of moods or circumstances. While others are swept away like leaves in a gale, they walk through the storm with their head held high. This is power beyond muscle or money, a strength that cannot be stolen, because it lives within the fortress of your will. Once your mind is a fortress, no whisper can sway you. No insult can unbalance you. No temptation can pull you off course. You act when you choose to act. You strike when you decide to strike. And the world will see, you're not ordinary. You're something far more dangerous, a force shaped by relentless will. Most people equate strength with the body. They believe that bulking up, running farther, or perfecting their diet is the path to power. But the truth is much harsher. The body isn't strength itself, it's a servant. And like any servant, it must be commanded, or it will seize control and become the master. Look around today. People don't command their bodies. They constantly negotiate with them. I'll work out if I feel like it. I'll exercise if I'm motivated. I'll push forward if it feels comfortable. They treat their bodies like spoiled children, always bargaining and never disciplining. Then they wonder why their will falters under pressure. Machiavelli would call this a dangerous kind of foolishness. A king who cannot rule his own household is unfit to govern a kingdom. In the same way, a person who cannot master their own body is unworthy of mastering their fate. Your body shouldn't dictate when you move, stop, eat, or rest. You do. This isn't about obsessing over appearances. Vanity is merely a weakness that masquerades as strength. Those who train only to impress others are slaves to the mirror, their power a borrowed thing that comes from the applause of the crowd. When their physique inevitably fades, their pride crumbles with it. True control over the body isn't about posing for admiration. It's about forging your flesh into a weapon, a tool that is ready to answer your call without hesitation. Can you rise at dawn without complaint? Can you endure hunger without whining? Can you push through exhaustion when it begs you to quit? These aren't questions of fitness. They are questions of power. Your body is a tool, nothing more, and like any tool, it dulls if neglected. Push it daily, not for applause, but to prove that your will is more powerful than your flesh. When pain arrives, greet it as proof that your commands are being followed. When fatigue whispers that you've done enough, answer it with one more lift, one more step, one more hour of work. The weak train to feel good, the strong train to obey themselves. This discipline transforms your body into a pure extension of your will, a blade sharpened not for show, but for battle. In this mastery, you forge a strength that endures long after the fleeting praise of others has disappeared. Every drop of sweat you shed is a declaration. I command you. Every ache in your muscles is confirmation. You answer to me, not the other way around. This discipline isn't confined to the gym. It ripples outward, shaping every facet of your life. If you can't conquer physical discomfort, you'll never withstand true adversity. If hunger or fatigue brings you to your knees, what will you do when the stakes are higher, when betrayal strikes, when your fortunes collapse, when enemies close in? Your body is the first battlefield, the proving ground where you learn to overcome resistance before the world hurls it at you. Here's the hidden reward. When you stop worshiping your body, you unlock a formidable, real strength. You train not to stroke your ego, but to sharpen your will. You learn to see your body as a tool, a resource that is expendable in service of your greater purpose. This makes you formidable to those who cling to comfort, because they sense that you will outwork them, outlast them, endure more, and keep moving forward. They sense you are capable of what they cannot even fathom. Machiavelli revered those who treated their lives as tools to be wielded with precision, not as treasures to be guarded at all costs. Treat your body the same way. Maintain it, hone it, discipline it, but never idolize it. A servant that is worshipped becomes a tyrant, and a tyrannical body breeds a feeble soul. Command yourself utterly. When you say move, you move. When you say endure, you endure. When you say fight, you fight. In this brutal obedience lies a power deeper than any weight you could lift or trophy you could claim. It's the power of a person whose body bows to their will, and when your own flesh fears your resolve, others will follow suit. The weak spend their lives dodging loss. The strong choose what to sacrifice. That is the fundamental divide. Most people think power is holding on to everything. Comfort, relationships, approval, safety. But true power is forged by shedding what weakens you before life does it for you. Machiavelli understood this harsh law of power. Nothing truly great is gained without a deliberate cost. Kings who tried to please everyone lost their thrones. Generals who refused to abandon their most vulnerable troops lost their battles. In the high-stakes game of survival, sentimentality is a liability. Those who cannot let go are already enslaved to what they cling to. By choosing your losses, you claim your strength and forge a will that bends neither to the world's whims nor its blows. Observe how most people live, hoarding comforts like treasures and dreading the slightest hint of hardship. They cling to unworthy friendships to avoid loneliness, choose safe jobs to dodge risk, and nurture bad habits because abandoning them would bruise their ego. By refusing to embrace pain, they guarantee that one day life will strip them of everything in a single brutal blow. You must do the opposite. You must wield sacrifice as a blade you sharpen for yourself. Decide now what you will burn away to avoid being consumed later. Let go of the pleasures that dull your edge. Sever the ties that weaken you. Step off the paths that lead nowhere, no matter how easy they seem. Every sacrifice you choose is a profound investment, a deposit into your future strength. This is not pointless suffering. It's purposeful discipline. Picture a commander discarding excess baggage before a crucial battle. The march becomes lighter, the army faster. Sacrifice frees you from burdens, forging a powerful resilience against the very fear of loss. You train yourself to thrive without what others deem essential. The more you willingly let go, the more formidable you become. When others fear losing wealth, you've already mastered living simply. When they dread losing comfort, you've already slept on cold floors. When they fear losing friends, you've already walked alone. What can anyone possibly use against you when you have already surrendered what they would take? Machiavelli praised those rulers who place survival above sentiment, knowing that a king willing to sacrifice comfort or even reputation could never be cornered. To others, such people seem ruthless. In truth, they are simply free, unbound by the fear of loss. Start small. Give up one pleasure each week. Not forever, but long enough to prove you are in control. Decline an invitation you know deep down is unnecessary. Spend an evening working instead of seeking distraction. Each act of sacrifice is not weakness. It's proof you're carving yourself into something sharper than your circumstances. This is not self-punishment. It's self-sculpting. Michelangelo famously said that he created statues by removing everything that didn't belong. Sacrifice works the same way. You chip away at weakness until only pure strength remains. When you master sacrifice, you inspire fear without even trying. Others will see a person who is unbribable by comfort, undeterred by luxury, and unparalyzed by the dread of solitude. They will see someone who will choose their mission over their emotions every single time, and that, in itself, makes you dangerous. If you are willing to forsake what others worship, you can seize what they believe is untouchable. Those who embrace sacrifice as an ally are no longer hostages to the world. They don't cling to possessions, titles, or praise, and so they cannot be manipulated. They decide what to lose, and in that choice, they triumph. The strongest aren't just those who endure more pain or impose their will with greater force. They're the ones who cannot be read, predicted, or cornered. Predictability is a weakness disguised as consistency. When others know exactly who you are and how you will react, they already know how to defeat you. Most people display their inner world like an open book. Their faces betray every thought. Their habits never shift, and their words reveal their deepest fears and desires. An insult sparks their anger. A compliment softens them. They are like machines with exposed buttons. Press the right one, and you control them entirely. To achieve extraordinary power, you must eliminate those buttons. Machiavelli admired leaders who concealed their motives and shifted their actions with surgical precision. They weren't erratic. They were strategic. Their enemies couldn't predict whether they would yield or strike, forgive or destroy. This uncertainty was their most potent weapon. Start by masking your emotions, not by feigning happiness, but by becoming utterly unreadable. When something angers you, do not show it. When something pleases you, keep it hidden. When something terrifies you, above all, conceal it. People fear what they cannot measure, and they cannot measure someone whose face is a mask. Next, you must disrupt your patterns. Don't be predictable in how you speak, where you go, whom you favor, or how you respond. Let others think they know you, then prove them wrong at the critical moment. Uncertainty breeds caution, and the cautious hesitate to strike. When you become unreadable, your power multiplies exponentially. Adversaries hesitate, unsure of how to challenge you. Allies respect you more, as your enigma makes your strength seem larger than life. Enemies abandon their schemes, uncertain of where to strike. Even betrayal loses its sting when no one can predict your response. This isn't chaos for its own sake. Unpredictability is not recklessness. It is control, the ultimate form of it. You decide when to show generosity or ruthlessness, when to advance or hold your ground, and when to reveal your strength or conceal it entirely. Consider a predator in the wild. The deadliest creature isn't the one that roars incessantly, but the one that moves in silence and strikes without warning. People don't just fear what is strong, they fear what is unknown. If they can't anticipate your next move, they will imagine it to be far worse than it actually is. That fear becomes a pillar of your power. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must be both lion and fox, fierce in battle when necessary, cunning when direct confrontation is unwise. Master unpredictability, and you embody both. You are not just strong, you are untouchable. When others expect you to beg, stand silent. When they expect forgiveness, strike. When they anticipate rage, simply smile. When they await surrender, advance. Each time you defy expectations, you teach the world that no one truly knows you. And when no one knows you, no one can own you. The unreadable cannot be broken. Their power lies not just in endurance or discipline, but in the fear they instill by being unpredictable, a shield stronger than any armor. Now, let's weave these threads together. Every step of this path is designed to strip away the weaknesses that diminish most people and replace them with something unbreakable. First, you learn to shatter comfort before it destroys you. The weak let life test them on its terms. The strong test themselves first. They rise earlier than they want, endure longer than they must, and shed every luxury that slows them down in battle. Second, you train your mind to rule, not to serve. Fear, doubt, and emotion are tools for those who master them, but chains for those who don't. If you don't own your thoughts, others will. Third, you learn your body isn't a temple to worship, it's a weapon to command. You don't train to look strong, you train to prove your body obeys your will without question. Fourth, you learn that power is amplified by mystery. When others can't predict you, they can't control you. When they can't read you, they fear you. A person who is both lion and fox, as Machiavelli wrote, cannot be cornered. What does all of this mean? True power isn't a single skill, a fleeting workout, or a passing mindset. It is a complete transformation, forged from within. Your mind must be tempered into a fortress. Your body must bend to unrelenting discipline. Your presence must become an enigma, unreadable to friend and foe alike. Together, these qualities make you rare, a force that no one dares challenge, because you cannot be broken, manipulated, or stopped. If you take these lessons to heart, you will stop chasing power for applause. You will no longer measure yourself by what others say or think. You become powerful because you refuse to be anything less. This is a strength that doesn't fade, a fire that burns through any storm. The question now is stark. Will you take the first step? Tomorrow, will you rise and choose pain before it chooses you? Will you command your thoughts and body, or will you let them dictate your path? Will you cultivate a mystery that keeps enemies guessing and allies in awe? Most people will watch this and nod in agreement, only to slip back into feeble habits, hollow comforts, and predictable routines that keep them weak. But you are not most people. If you have stayed this far, you are different. You have glimpsed the truth. Power isn't given, it's seized. You claim it by forging yourself in fire until nothing can shatter you. The world will not get softer. It grows sharper, colder, more hostile. That is your advantage. While others crumble, you will grow harder. While they beg for rescue, you will stand unshaken. Forge yourself into steel, and when life strikes, you won't break, you'll cut through it. If this video has given you something real, something you can wield, then prove it. Hit like, subscribe, and keep sharpening your edge right here. The weak will scroll past. The strong will stay and hone their blade. Which are you?